Greetings, I am Gandhi Ji. It is my honor to speak to you, my friends. And at one time or another I would have said, my fellow countrymen. But now I say to you, my fellow planetary citizens, what you are calling yourselves these days as Gaians, it is a very good term. And yes, I come to teach you and to walk with you. For even as I was human, I am much the same, for I do not really have any worldly goods or possessions to offer you. But it is good because there can be no consideration or talk of bribery, huh? But it is a time for those who truly believe in freedom and in independence to stand clear and to claim their freedom and independence. And yes, I know from the experience of an old man that this is not always easy. For whether you are declaring freedom merely for yourself from your family, or from the societies that think that you should behave in certain ways, or follow rigorously certain traditions or pathways, or whether you are attempting to liberate yourself and millions from the shackles of treachery, of abusers of power. It matters not. Now let me be very clear. When I say abusers of power, I am not speaking in some mysterious code. I am not speaking in a way that makes you think that you must check behind every bush and under every stone. For that is not really where conspiracy lies anyway. It lies in the hearts of man. It lies in the soul waiting like a tiger to pounce and destroy you. This is a way that the human beings allow themselves to be manipulated. It is by these paper tigers and the actual tigers and the people that say they are tigers, but in fact, when challenged, are simple pussycats. Now I know because I have walked, and I have walked a long way, and I have walked as man, and I have walked with some and none, for there were many in the beginning that did not wish to join me or even acknowledge what I had to offer, because you see I had none of those possessions in which to offer any bribery. So what I speak to is the freedom of spirit, the freedom of resistance, of not being coerced and not allowing yourself to be coerced in any way, shape, or form. Where there is tyranny, it must be identified and resisted against. In our situation, for the first time, it was the British. Now, do you really think that there was massive conspiracy with the British? No. And do you really think that my work, in fact, resulted in the British evacuation and the return of India to India? No. It simply became too tiresome for them to continue on a pathway that was abusive and authoritarian, and that did not acknowledge the dignity of every person. Yes, regardless of caste or creed. And so they departed. They departed and maintained their dignity, which when you are working with an adversary is very important, to allow them to maintain their dignity. And in this way they do not have to continue their role of abuse or to feel that they have to be defensive in order to withdraw. It broke my heart when we could not find a commonality, a middle path for the Hindus and Muslims. And there was much violence and much hatred. And you see why I speak of this, is that in all the people that were cross-migrating, close to 15 million, there were always accusations of banditry, of abuse and rapists, of murderers, and many thieves. But the truth of this was that it was individuals and families. It was the small children and infants, the mothers and the grandmothers, the fathers and the sons, attempting to find a place on this planet where they would be free, where they would be safe, where they could pursue not only their religious beliefs, but their dreams, without fear of retribution, without fear of interference. Every person on this planet has the God-given right to a place where they may worship and pursue their trade and protect their family and live in happiness, for them to allow their dreams to become some form of reality, and it is different for everyone. It does not need to result in bloodshed. It does not need to result in hatred, and my hope is that after 70, 80 years, that in fact humanity has learned something about the desire to be free and about the compassionate ways in which to achieve this. Resist those who tell you that freedom is not possible, that you do not have an inalienable right. No, not as dictated by governments, but dictated by the human spirit, that you do not have the freedom to pursue what you know to be fair and what you know to be right. And in justice, justice is divinely orchestrated. I was a lawyer, you know, and I have practiced in many, many places. It is not the legalities of courts and rulers. It is the knowing of fairness. And so I say to you, yes, to practice resistance, But if you practice resistance in silence, nobody knows what you are resisting. So, my friends, it is important to speak up, to allow the truth of your heart to be known. So this is what I ask of you, not only in your meditation, but in your everyday life. You are the forebearers of the future. I am but an old man speaking from the past, but I have this perspective that I wish to share. Go with the love of Gandhi. Goodbye.